Obviously, this is not the great day to do videos. This is my fifth time trying to make this stupid video. So, genre files at the cemetery, westerns. I'm going to talk about the Comancheros, starring John Wayne, Stuart Whitman, Lee Marvin, Ina Bolin, Nehemiah Persoff, and Jack Elam. Came out in 1961. Directed by Michael Curtiz. Director of photography is William H. Clothier, who was the director of photography of a lot of John Ford movies, and he and John Wayne films in those days. Beautifully shot film. I seen it years ago on TV because it was a pan and scan, and it was an old print that they used for TV. It didn't look great at all. And then when I got this Blu-ray and popped it in and looked at the scenery, I was like, oh my God, what a beautiful looking film. Beautiful. So glad that we're in the age of Blu-ray and HD. Excuse me, to see these movies in all their glory. This happened to be Michael Curtiz's last film that he made. He started, when production went in, he was very ill and got too sick to finish the film. John Wayne stepped in and finished directing this movie. It is one of the better... I like a lot of John Wayne films. I love John Wayne. Grew up watching his films. But this is one of the better ones. That I've watched. Like I said, I've watched this before, maybe 2 or 3 times, and each watch of it, I really enjoy it. It's a serious movie, but it's fun as well. It has its very lighthearted moments, especially with Lee Marvin. He plays a character. Let me look at my notes here. Tully Crow, who plays a gun runner that John Wayne was supposed to meet up with, or who met up with, to sell guns to the Comanches, or the Comancheros, which is a gang that consists of outlaws that sells guns and whiskeys to the Comanches for their wars against the U.S. and other and settlers in Texas. The film is supposed to be set in 1843. This is the 2 problems with the movie. Then I noticed this, and then when I was researching it a little bit on IMDb and Wikipedia, that the film was set in 1843, but the protagonist in the film, Grail is his name, played by Nehemiah Persoff, was a colonel in the Civil War, Confederate Army. Excuse me. And of course, the Civil War happened 20 some odd years after the time this film was set. Also, the Winchester guns, the repeating rifles, were not used in 1843. They didn't come along until way after, maybe the late 1860s, 1870s. So those are my kind of 2 issues with it. But it's a great story. It's a lot of fun. The best parts for me was watching John Wayne and Lee Marvin play together in this film. I swear to, I only know maybe 2 other movies that they played in. One was called Donovan's Reef, and the other one, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. And the one with the Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, Lee Marvin was hardly in that film. Very little screen time, and he had very little screen time in this, the Comancheros. But the time that they had with John Wayne, it was funny. I mean, they got along really well, like old drinking buddies, it seemed like. But I'll tell you a quick story of the plot. Stuart Whitman plays Paul Regret. He was in a duel at the beginning of the movie. He shot and killed the man. And back then, duels were like, okay, they were illegal, but nobody paid attention to it. But Paul Regret happened to kill the son of a judge, and he had a high price on his head, and so he ran off. And John Wayne is a Texas Ranger who picks him up when he stepped off a gambling ship in Louisiana, and was bringing him back to Texas. And on their way back, they come across a ranch where everybody was killed, that people that John Wayne knew and was close to, and they wound up burying them. And Paul Regret just knocks him on the head with a shovel, knocks him out. John Wayne comes to, goes back to his home base with the Texas Rangers in Texas without Paul Regret, and winds up getting another case, which was setting up, trying to meet up with somebody to sell guns to the Comanches to catch them. To the Comancheros, excuse me. And that's where that goes. The scenery carries this film, the acting. It's John Wayne. A lot of people say, well, he's not a great actor. He might not be the best actor, but he was fun to watch on screen, and he was fun to watch in this movie. Probably one of his better roles. The Searchers is his best role, I believe. The Searchers is probably his best role ever. I recommend you watching the Comancheros. It's on Blu-ray. Fox Studios has it. And what else am I going to say? Oh, yeah, the other thing I kind of bothered me now. It didn't bother me so much when I was younger. I guess the older I get, the more socially conscious I become, is the stereotyping of Indians, or how they portrayed Indians in the movie. There's good Indians and there's bad Indians in this movie. And the bad Indians are with the Comancheros or the Comanches, and they shoot and kill people for no reason at all, which is not maybe partly true, I don't know. But to me, it's just stereotyping. But the other thing is that the good Indians were drunk all the time. So they always wanted whiskey. There's a scene where these stray Indians come up, and Paul Regret goes, oh, how do you can tell the difference between good Indians and bad Indians? And he says, well, you can tell always the good Indians. And the old Indian fella comes up to him on a horse and wants whiskey. He goes like this. He says, no whiskey. Seen this in other John Wayne movies too, like McClintock and stuff like that. But portraying Indians as drunks, just drinking, or bad guys just killing people randomly for no reason at all, that kind of bothered me. I could say it did bother me more this time. Like I said, the older I get, I guess the more socially or more conscious I am of these things. So, anyways, 1961, the Comancheros. Get it on Blu-ray. The scenery is great. It was mostly all shot in Utah, except for the interiors. Beautiful picture. Beautiful picture. You think it was a John Ford film. But anyways, thank you. Another rambling. Kind of confused now because Ian said gangster films this week. And James said animation. So maybe I'll have a gangster animation film. I don't know. Anyways, talk to you later. Thank you for putting up with me. Bye.